we gotta head over to another property we have, and I got a truck sitting there, and I bought, we're gonna fix the engine in, or fix the truck, and it has what I think to be a good head. So we're gonna go get it. I'm gonna bring the skid steer. We got it on the back of the truck, so we can move some stuff to get to it. There's some wheels, some tires, and a refrigeration unit on the front of a trailer or a box that we removed. So I gotta move that stuff and then pull it where I can get to it. We're gonna see if we can put it on this truck, on this Freightliner. We shouldn't be overweight. We should be okay. I think it's gonna be. I think we're gonna be well on. That there.
Oh, okay.
Pull it through there.
You're okay. Helpful if we would have remembered the caging bolts for the brakes. Okay, so we got it turned around and you got it pushed up the drive a little further here. Now he's trying to hook it up so we can winch it up and push it with the skid steer.
Well, we have to lift it because we don't have caging bolts back there.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, that.
Okay. All right, lady.
Okay.
We're running the remote.
All right.
We're gonna inch it up here and get it set up on the ramps because your wheels need to turn. You got them off.
Okay. So turn the wheel first?
Yeah. Turn
okay.
the wheels, and I'm going to try and pull a little bit.
Okay.
right to fit perfectly, but I think it's okay. I don't like it. I'd like it to be this way more. I would like it to be this way a little bit more. Let's back up again. Stop. Either come to me, stop, or back up. Okay? Okay. Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. We had to set it down because it's just too hard to do everything and hold the camera. Woo. Stop! Okay, it's just the bumper's hitting a little bit. I heard something. I just had to go check to see what it was. You're on that edge a little bit. Do you want me to get in and steer? Okay. You're okay. It still needs to come over, but you're okay. It keeps creeping over that way. It needs to come that way, if you can. It was good, but it keeps going over. Okay. All right, I gotta get up here. Well, we got it up there. Wow, this is a bumpy road. Got it all strapped down, chained down, I should say, and everything. But then we realized that the stack that's on it was over 15 feet tall. So we had to get the sawzall and quickly cut the stack off so we could bring it home without ripping down any wires. So.
Yeah. But it went on pretty good. I mean, it took us a few times going back and forth to get the wheels straight, to get it, you know, where it come up on the truck, you know, even side to side. But
yeah, because the wheel kept turning on its own a little bit. So
yeah. I mean, it wasn't the ideal way to load the thing, but do what you gotta do, man.
It worked.
It did just fine. Now we'll take it home and get it unloaded and pull the head off.
we made it. Now to take it apart. Okay, we're getting it unloaded. It's starting to snow here. Okay, just had to turn that forward a little bit. Looks like the bumper drug just a little bit, but that's okay. I'm probably going to have to steer it in the shop. Remember about the hood?
Yeah, I can't see real well coming in here.
I know.
And
the last time we parked one too close that the duct work up there was in the way. We couldn't open the hood enough, so just trying to remind him not to come up too far. That's good, I think.
all right, so this may look, I don't know, just about identical to the other truck that the water truck we pulled apart. You know, it's an 04 8600 single axle air ride, blah 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 blah, all that kind of stuff. This one has internal engine problems. Let me get a light on the subject. All right, now we can see. This one is actually in quite a bit better shape. I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but the oil cooler's much cleaner. The exhaust manifold's got very little rust compared to the other one. These lines for the EGR, they're in better shape. That one's in better shape. So, I don't know. Now, this one had internal engine problems, and they were getting ready to pull the head off, and this happens so often, and they dropped the oil pan. There's no oil in it. They've had the oil pan off, and apparently they decided not to repair it. So when I looked at this truck when I bought it, you know, I saw all this, and I look underneath, and the oil pan's been off, so that tells me that, you know, they abandoned it because it's not worth repair.
or they saw something in an oil pan, likely that, you know, makes it just not cost effective. So I pay accordingly. Now this truck's an 04 8600. Quite honestly, I bought it based on a parts truck. You know, it might just be parts. And look, today we're going to be pulling the head off so we can use it for the other. I had to cut the stack off. We were 15 foot something. I think it was, I don't remember, 15 foot 8. We were way too tall. It's got brand new brake chamber right there. That's always nice. Airbag. I got the rear axle chained up, but wasn't the most, I don't know, probably not your traditional way of loading a truck like this, but we got it on. We got it chained down, we got it unloaded. Everything worked out well, no issues, no bubbles, no troubles. Everything's fine. So next I'll start taking the head off, because we're gonna take that head and that head to the machine shop and let them figure out what is and what isn't worth using. And then we'll go from there. Well, after looking at this a little bit, I realized there's only one bolt in the front and one bolt in the back holding it on, so they must have had this head off already. So let me get that out of there, and I guess we're ready to lift it off. I don't see anything else still attached, so should be pretty quick. I'm going to make some lifting eyes where I can drill a hole, put a bolt into the head, and then drill another hole and have a clevis to wrap the chain through. So I'm going to make 2 of these, make it easier this time, because I'm going to have to set the other head back on, so I'm going to need this. I would like to have it be one solid piece from front to back, and then manipulate the chain forward to back to balance the head, but the problem is the head, there's a vast majority behind the cowl, so I'm not going to be able to get it balanced well. So it's not going to be as easy. So I'm just going to make these 2 for now, see how they work out. This really doesn't have to be this precise. I probably could have just done it in the bench vise, but I think this will be faster. I'm gonna drill each one right where it's at, and then I'll go to the other side. I'll start with a 1/4 hole. I think I'm gonna make it 5/8 or 3/4. I'm gonna go look at my clevises and see what diameter the pin is. This drill bit's bent. I think this got bent when we were drilling holes by hand, and I forgot about it. So I think I'm just gonna, after this one's done, we'll probably just throw that one in the trash. I'm gonna see if I can just run through this without a pilot, because I'm kind of in a hurry, and I don't need precision. You know, we just need something that'll work. You know, it's really not that big a deal. Yeah, as I turn this thing, it gets closer and farther to the center. But it may break on me, but I'd rather it break in a drill press than in a corded drill, a handheld drill. So see what it does. Can't take it away from it, it's sharp. You can see that bent it is. But like I said, it really doesn't matter. We're gonna use it and throw it away. All right, let me get the other one drilled. I don't have the right bolts to go through the head of that truck, but I've got some of these bolts on bumper brackets. You know, these things Ford use. They put the 2 bolts in there, and you can see they kind of swedge the corners of the head to hold them on this little piece of flat plate steel, so they don't turn when you tighten them up. So we're just gonna cut that plate off, thread a couple nuts down on there, and weld them on, and create some bolts that we do need. So I just use a portable bandsaw to cut them off. Now I'll just run it in the head or the nut, and it'll turn into a head like that. And I'll just weld down in there. She's hot. I don't recommend grabbing that with your bare fingers. Got to be careful when you're doing this. You can't get past the sides. You'll distort it, and you won't be able to get a wrench on it. But I want to make sure it's full, because it needs to be strong enough to do what we're doing. It gives me about, I don't know what that is, 3/4 inch of threads. Maybe, yeah, just I'd say just under 7/8, I guess, or just over 7/8. So now I'll get the other one cut off to length, and I'll get them matched for size and welded in. Alright, I got it set where I think we need to be. I think the grade all needs to come this way just a skosh, but it'll be a little bit more difficult. You see, I need it like this. I don't want to be up against these valve springs, so I put the chain on this side and just use a bolt instead of a clevis, because a clevis may have come over and bent a valve. So I'm hoping this way works out. We'll see. Okay. I'm going to take that chain back a little, which means we're going to be on the clevis, or on the cowl, I mean. Need to go back a couple links. Okay, back up. Yeah. You know what that's going to do? That's going to do real well. Okay. All right, you need to reverse. No, reverse. Yeah, reverse. Reverse. I'm trying to tell her what to do here and she can't hear me. Yeah. Yes. I'm getting tight on the cowl here. Trying to pull it away from the cowl. Okay, now go up. this should have been, this line should have been taken off. Almost there, right there, right there. All right, now I got to swing it. There we go. Okay. Okay, back up. Okay. Up. There you go. Take it out. Okay, there we go. Look at all that water. That's just from being open. That's not because of damage. That's just water, I believe. The cylinder head being open. But anyways, let's get this one in the shop and get a look at it. See what it looks like. I don't want to get underneath that head. We'll look at that in a minute. Guess we'll have to make that work. You know what? I better get rid of this camera before I hit something. Well, our brackets worked out just fine. We didn't hit any of the valve stems. It worked out pretty well, especially for what we were dealing with. The water got in the engine right in here. But I'm gonna take a wire wheel and a grinder and clean this up. I guess I'll figure out a way to set it on end or something, and I'll probably set it on one end and still leave the chain hooked up so that you know, I have more of the weight being held by the grate all than sitting, so it doesn't tip over on me. So let me get that going, and we'll start cleaning that thing up and see what we got. Well, I've cleaned it up just with the little wire wheel, and the whole purpose to clean it up is just so I can look and see if there's any, you know, obvious reasons that this head was taken off and, you know, the engine wasn't fixed, repaired, rebuilt, whatever they were going to do. Because regardless, you take it into the machine shop, you know, they're going to dip it, they're going to disassemble the head completely, they're going to degrease it, and they're going to check for cracks. So they're already going to charge us for disassembly, they're going to charge us to dip it, and they're going to charge us to check it. So if we can look at it and see something obvious why we shouldn't take it in, you know, it could save me a bunch of money. Now I've taken the exhaust manifold off. The studs in that manifold are bent. I don't know if it's from, you know, from when we set it down or when they took it off. I don't know. Who cares? It doesn't matter. We'll put some studs in it. But that truck has all 6 injectors inside it. So that just saved me a bunch of money on injectors if they're good. So the one's damaged, so we automatically have 6 to possibly replace that one. And there's a bunch of stuff that I needed, like for the EGR lines, the cooler lines that come up to the EGR. Those are good on this. The 2 fuel lines we need to go into the head, those are good. The feed and the return. What else? There was a few other things. If the head's good, they can clean the valves up, check the springs, and we might be good to go. We might only have to do like a valve job, and I'm sure they'll have to surface that head, because there is, like, the wire wheel isn't taking off metal, it's polishing rust. So anywhere there's buildup, like inside this chamber, see, there's a little something right there. I think it's just crap on, yeah, it's just old gasket I didn't get off. But anything inside the chamber on the face here isn't really all that critical. On the mating surface where the gasket sits, you know, like what seals the combustion chamber right in here, this is very important. You know, these are important. Like I said, it needs to be perfectly flat or within just a small margin, just a few thousandths. But I'm going to look it over, you know, again, of course, and see if I can see any reason not to take it in. But if not, I guess we're going to take that head in and see what they can tell me about it, see if it's okay. If it's good, I mean, I'm just going to have a small fraction of money in a repair to the head as I would for reman. So I think a reman head's about $2,500 with a good core. And the one out of that truck over there, they do not consider it a good core because it's damaged. I don't think they accept it. They might not. Anyways, that's where we're going to leave you on this one. And we'll bring you back once we have some news on the head. If you guys like what we're doing, give us that thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Leave your comments down below, guys. We will catch you on the next one. One of the other things that is going to be beneficial is we got a good connector. It's filthy. We can clean that up. We got us a good engine harness, so we don't have to buy that. That was going to be a fairly costly ordeal right there, so that's helpful. There's a few other things. Now what we need to do is get the engine serial number from this and the CPL, which CPL is Cummins' way of saying critical parts list. So we need to get that and the engine serial number, so that when we take the head in, if they need any parts, that's what they're going to use for it. They need that information. This harness right here is good too. You know, the other one had the cracked connectors. Then there's an ID plate right here, and this is where you find your CPL number and engine serial number.